drafted the most valuable asset in women's sports, the biggest asset in women's sports. The idea that they did not have somebody in this position it's asinine, it's ridiculous, it's insulting to the fan base. It shows a lack of professionalism by what's supposed to be a professional basketball team, an organization. It's shocking to me. It is shocking. But the Indiana Fever have...
So, the Indiana Fever just hired a new health director, which is wild. But get this, the real shock isn't who they picked. It's that this super critical job didn't even exist until now. We just went through a brutal season, right? Caitlin Clark was sidelined so many times with injuries, and after all that, the team finally posted a job for a senior director of player health and performance. This role is essential for any pro team, but it only came to be after a year of catastrophic breakdowns, leaving everyone wondering about the Fever's basic professionalism. Clark, the biggest star in the league, kept getting hurt, yet her health seemed like an afterthought. It feels like organizational malpractice, a slap in the face to both players and fans, and it really shows how far behind the Fever truly were. This isn't just a simple mistake, it's a massive leadership failure that could put careers at risk.
Here's at risk.
26 WNBA season. This is great news. Cannot wait to see her back on the floor. Now, there's also a lot of us Caitlin Clark fans who are triggered by the statements that Stephanie White made on the Fever Insider podcast, where she said that the team is building around Kelsey Mitchell, and we feel like Caitlin Clark needs to demand a trade. You know, like it's a lot. It's a lot. Caitlin Clark needs to get out of there. We're going to get into this footage of Caitlin Clark back working out, back training. This is great. We got a lot more to get into. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell.
Caitlin Clark's
her rookie season. Man, it was just one injury nightmare after another. Seriously, a relentless cycle of physical setbacks. She had multiple quad injuries that kept her off the court for weeks at a time. Then came a minor groin issue, and that was followed by a more severe one in mid-July. Just when you thought she might be getting back, she sprained her ankle while rehabbing, and that ultimately ended her whole season. These weren't just random incidents. They painted a pretty grim picture of inadequate player care. Her body, which is the engine of her amazing talent, was just breaking down. It made fans really wonder if the team was even equipped to handle the physical demands placed on her. The sheer number of injuries, especially those soft tissue ones, raised huge alarms about how they were preventing and managing injuries during the season.
Ball team, an organization, it's shocking to me. It is shocking. But the Indiana Fever have made a job posting. And Lord knows it's a job that they absolutely need somebody in this job. My issue is, how the hell did you not already have somebody doing this? And why didn't you bring somebody on during the season? The whole team turned into a MASH unit.
And it wasn't just Caitlin, either. She was far from the only Fever player to face season-ending hardship. By the end of the season, that team was truly a MASH unit. 4 other players, Sophie Cunningham, Sydney Coulson, Eric McDonald, and Chloe Bibby, all suffered injuries that cut their season short. Plus, Demarius Dante missed the entire playoffs because of a concussion, and the source of that is suspiciously unclear, even now. Even Kelsey Mitchell, a veteran leader, got a freak leg injury in the final playoff game. This catastrophic injury toll across the entire roster wasn't just bad luck. It pointed directly to a systemic problem within the organization, a huge gap where professional medical oversight should have been. The sheer number of sideline stars was genuinely unprecedented and super concerning.
The GOAT is back in the gym. The GOAT is back in the gym. Now, my thing is, Stephanie White has some very disturbing things to say. We all know Stephanie White's a bonehead, and for whatever reason, she in the Fever organization or whoever feels like They should be building the team around Kelsey Mitchell. We've heard plenty of times, Kelsey Mitchell, she is our number one priority last year. She'll be our number one priority this year.
Now, let's talk about this new job. The description for the Senior Director of Player Health and Performance is massive and super comprehensive. Honestly, just reading it exposes all the neglect that was going on before. This person is going to oversee the entire health, medical, and athletic performance department. We're talking full-time sports performance coaches, athletic trainers, physical therapists, massage therapists, nutritionists, chiropractors, and even interns. Their duties include everything from initial exams and diagnoses to treatments, monitoring, and injury prevention. This extensive list really reveals a startling lack of these fundamental services before, leaving a huge hole in player support. It's essentially a blueprint for what should have been in place for years, not just a reactive measure after a devastating injury crisis. It completely confirms the organization's unbelievable deficiency before.
The whole team turned into a MASH unit. It's crazy. It is crazy. It's no secret the Indiana Fever were dealt a brutal hand when it came to injuries they dealt with during the 2025 WNBA regular season. The most notable of these is regarding star Caitlin Clark, who experienced several soft tissue injuries during her sophomore WNBA campaign. She suffered two relatively minor quad injuries that kept her sidelined for a couple of weeks early in the season.
And you can imagine the outrage among fans and analysts is just palpable. People are calling this whole situation organizational professional sports malpractice. The fact that a WNBA team, especially one with the league's biggest star, operated without such a fundamental health and performance role is just ridiculous. It's insulting to the entire fan base. This isn't just some small oversight. It shows a profound lack of seriousness and professionalism within the Fever organization. It screams of an amateur approach to managing multi-million-dollar athletic assets. The delay in addressing such a critical need until after a season marred by debilitating injuries is seen as unforgivable. A clear dereliction of duty by those in leadership.
Caitlin Clark should move on. Caitlin Clark needs to move on. This is just not gonna work. This is not gonna work. You know what I mean? This is the quote from Stephanie White. I want to continue to build around her. She is absolutely the number one priority. Now, she said she was the number one priority last year. She'll be the number one priority this year. So, being that Kelsey Mitchell is your number one priority, I think Caitlin...
The finger of blame.
So, who's to blame here? Well, the blame points squarely at Fever leadership, especially Stephanie White and Amber Cox. A lot of people believe these figures should have demanded this position be established years ago. Or, at the very least, they should have seen the urgent need for it way sooner. The idea that such a crucial role, one that's vital for player well-being and team performance, wasn't prioritized or even recognized as essential before this whole injury crisis, that's just baffling. Some are even suggesting this oversight goes all the way back to last year, even before Caitlin Clark was drafted, which really highlights a long-standing organizational failure. Their failure to proactively address player health now stands as a glaring testament to some seriously short-sighted leadership.
During her sophomore WNBA campaign, she suffered two relatively minor quad injuries that kept her sidelined for a couple of weeks early in the season, then a minor groin injury that kept her out for another couple of weeks, then suffered a more serious groin injury on July 15th. Let's not forget about the ankle. Oh, here we go. But that's not all. Clark sprained her ankle while rehabbing before an August 7 game, which delayed her return timeline to the point where the Fever felt like she didn't have enough time to properly recover and return to the court. Thus...
And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? A terrifying question is looming. Who was providing these critical services before this new role was created? Was there anyone adequately equipped to diagnose, treat, and prevent injuries for the Fever's professional athletes? The implication is pretty grim. Maybe it was just interns, or even worse, no dedicated professional staff at all. Some people are wondering if players like Caitlin Clark were literally forced to pay for all of that on her own, getting external medical attention because the team just lacked the necessary internal support. That scenario is honestly unfathomable for a professional sports league. It suggests a gross dereliction of duty towards player welfare, and the vacuum of care is simply unbelievable.
This is a quote from Stephanie White. I want to continue to build around her. She is absolutely the #1 priority. Now, she said she was the #1 priority last year. She'll be the #1 priority this year. So, being that Kelsey Mitchell is your #1 priority, I think Caitlin Clark should demand a trade. I think she should demand a trade. I don't trust you. I don't trust Amber Cox. I don't trust Kelly Crosskopf. I don't trust none of y'all. I don't trust none of y'all. I don't even want her working out at the damn facility.
On top of all that, the timing of this job posting really amplifies the controversy. It's not just that this role is new, it's that it's being created now, in late October, after the season has already wrapped up. Nothing, it seems, struck the organization in June or even earlier, during the height of the injury crisis, to prompt immediate action. This delay suggests a totally reactive, rather than proactive, approach to player health. It just implies they waited for the situation to become catastrophically bad before they finally acknowledged this huge deficiency. Fans are left wondering why such a fundamental position wasn't established a long time ago, perhaps even before Clark arrived. It really just demonstrates unbelievable negligence.
The later return timeline to the point where the Fever felt like she didn't have enough time to properly recover and return to the court, thus ending her season. Clark was far from the only Fever player that got hurt, as 4 other players, Sophie Cunningham, Sydney Colson, Ari McDonald, and Chloe Bibby, all suffered season-ending injuries in the final 2 or so months of the season. Demarius Dantes missed the playoffs because of concussion. It's still unclear where that concussion came from. The phantom concussion, I still never saw.
And this whole mess really casts a harsh spotlight on the broader professionalism of the WNBA itself. For a lot of people, the league often feels more like minor league baseball or a AA team broadcast on local television. It just lacks the polish and infrastructure of major sports. The inability, or maybe even unwillingness, of a professional team to afford or even conceive of such critical roles before a crisis truly reinforces that perception. If a professional league couldn't afford to have these kind of roles in place previously, then serious questions arise about its fundamental viability as a truly professional entity. It's an indictment of the league's standards, a stark reminder of how far it still has to go.
It still has to evolve.
I don't trust Amber Cox. I don't trust Kelly Crosskopf. I don't trust none of y'all. I don't trust none of y'all. I don't even want her working out at the damn facility over there. I'm hearing that the owner's son is not feeling y'all. If that's the case, you need to step in. You need to step in. Do y'all want Kelsey Mitchell and Stephanie White, or do y'all want Caitlin Clark? Let's get something clear here. Let's get things clear all the way around the board. How about that? Let's get this thing clear all the way around the board. Caitlin Clark is the reason people was even tuning into Indiana.
But here's the kicker, and the ultimate irony is just glaring. The Indiana Fever possess the most valuable commodity in women's sports right now, Caitlin Clark. Yet, they completely failed to provide the most basic professional support for her and her teammates. To have such a transformative star who's drawing unprecedented viewership and attention, while simultaneously operating without a comprehensive player health department, that's an unbelievable contradiction. It's a staggering misalignment of priorities. They recognize her commercial value, sure, but the fundamental duty of care for the athletes who are generating all that value is shockingly neglected. This professional negligence is simply astounding when you really consider her impact.
Her job listing after injury-plagued WNBA season. Here's the job listing. I gotta tell you, this is It's absolutely needed, but it's also really embarrassing. Indiana Fever Senior Director of Player Health and Performance. Why the hell wasn't somebody already in this position? That's organizational, professional sports malpractice. Frankly, it shows a lack of seriousness.
And then, to pour salt on the wound, remarks from Stephanie White, the Fever's head coach, have ignited an absolute firestorm, really fueling fan frustration. On the team's Insider podcast, White actually stated that the team plans to continue to build around her, referring to Kelsey Mitchell. She proclaimed Mitchell as absolutely the #1 priority again this year, just as she was last year. Now, these statements come amidst the backdrop of Clark's injury-plagued season, and all these organizational health failures. Many are interpreting this as a dismissive attitude towards Clark, whose presence fundamentally changed the team's public profile and economic viability, creating unbelievable internal conflict.
Clear all the way around the board. Caitlin Clark is the reason people was even tuning into Indiana Fever games. Y'all lost 55% of the viewing audience once she wasn't playing. Y'all had to lie. Y'all lied about the injury. Y'all strung people along. Y'all wouldn't let her come back. Strung people along for an entire damn near season. Y'all waited until 2 days before the last game of the season to say she wasn't coming back. Why? Because y'all was trying to keep her fans in tune. Y'all was trying to keep hope so that, hey, I'm going to buy a ticket for down the line and make hope.
So, it's no surprise that the overwhelming sentiment among many Caitlin Clark fans is that she needs to demand a trade from the Indiana Fever. This feeling stems directly from Stephanie White's repeated public prioritization of Kelsey Mitchell as the team's #1 priority. With the team's organizational health failures now shockingly exposed and a perceived lack of commitment to actually building around Clark, fans genuinely believe her future success and physical well-being are at risk. The belief is that the current Fever leadership, including Amber Cox and Kelly Cross, simply cannot be trusted with Clark's career. The situation has reached a critical point, demanding a drastic move for Clark's future.
Professional sports malpractice. Frankly, it shows a lack of seriousness. And I would assume this should fall back on Stephanie White and Amber Cox for not demanding that this position, or seeing the need for it. Shit, really going all the way back to last year. Forget about it. Christy Sides, the organization, somebody should have been on staff the moment Caitlin Clark got drafted.
And if that wasn't enough, further fueling the demand for a trade is the accusation that the Fever organization deliberately lied about the injury and strung people along regarding Caitlin Clark's return timeline. Fans are contending that the team withheld accurate information, waiting until just 2 days before the season's final game to announce she wouldn't return at all. The motive, it's alleged, was to keep her fans tuned in, maintaining hope that she might play to drive ticket sales and viewership, even while knowing her season was effectively over. This alleged deception is seen as a manipulative tactic, and it's further eroding trust between the franchise and its most vital asset, an enormous fan base.
People along for an entire damn near season. Y'all waited until 2 days before the last game of the season to say she wasn't coming back. Why? Because y'all was trying to keep her fans in tune. Y'all was trying to keep hope so that, hey, I'm going to buy a ticket for down the line and hopefully she'll be playing. Or I'm going to watch today, maybe she'll get announced that she's playing. Like, y'all used her and strung her fan base along, but y'all want to build around Kelsey Mitchell. Why don't y'all just use Kelsey Mitchell's fan base? She got a lot of publicity from being next to Caitlin Clark, and she's a hell of a player. Not taking that away, she's a hell of a player.
Now let's be real here. The controversy just intensifies with this raw, unfiltered truth. Nobody was checking for Kelsey Mitchell prior to Caitlin Clark standing next to her. And look, we acknowledge Mitchell is a hell of a player, but the stark reality is Clark brought unprecedented visibility and a massive audience to the team. So, the idea that the Fever would choose to build around Mitchell and her fan base when Clark is demonstrably the driving force behind the team's viewership and financial success, is just perplexing, and frankly unbelievable. This perceived lack of strategic vision for leveraging their biggest star is baffling to fans, highlighting a stunning miscalculation of talent dynamics.
I mean, my question would be, and let me just keep it 110% real here. If this league couldn't afford to have these kind of roles prior, this professional league should not have existed. I mean, this just goes to tell you, we're just going out there and I keep telling you guys, some of these broadcasts, when you watch them, they feel very minor league baseball-y. They feel like you're watching a AA team, local team on local television, and that's the look and the feel of the broadcast, and you're like, ugh.
What's crazy is, the value of Caitlin Clark is shockingly understood and cherished by nearly every major league and company out there, except the WNBA and the Indiana Fever. Think about it. Golf, the NFL, and the NBA all comprehend the Caitlin Clark effect and truly appreciate her unique draw. She's already making waves in the golf world, showing her appeal totally transcends basketball. It's an unbelievable paradox that the very league and team she plays for seem incapable of grasping or valuing her immense impact. This disconnect highlights a profound organizational blindness that's both frustrating and deeply concerning for her future in the WNBA.
That's just the facts. That's just a fact, bro. We're gonna keep it real. We're gonna keep it real around here. Wasn't nobody checking for Kelsey Mitchell prior to her standing next to Caitlin Clark. Just like wasn't nobody checking for 90% of these people that's next to her right now. Come on now. So take Kelsey Mitchell, take her fan base, and go build around her. You could do the Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston 1-2 punch. We take our talents elsewhere. That's how I'm feeling about it. That's how I'm feeling. Straight up. Straight up. I personally think Kelsey Mitchell can fit in with the Caitlin Clark like we saw the second half of the rookie.
And really, this all just highlights the Fever's bewildering inability to truly understand and capitalize on their generational talent. While other major sports recognize Clark as a transcendent figure, the Fever's actions, from neglecting basic player health infrastructure to publicly prioritizing other players, suggest a stunning lack of foresight. It's like they were handed a diamond and treated it like a common stone, refusing to polish it or place it in the proper setting. This profound misjudgment of Clark's value by her own organization is arguably the most unbelievable and infuriating aspect of this entire saga, leaving fans completely baffled. This isn't just an embarrassment for the Indiana Fever, it's a gargantuan embarrassment for the league as a whole. It paints a picture of an organization and a league that are fundamentally unprepared for the spotlight and the immense responsibility that comes with hosting a player of Caitlin Clark's caliber. This isn't just about one unbelievable hire or a job posting. It's about a systemic failure of professionalism, player care, and strategic vision. It forces everyone to question the league's readiness for its explosive growth and whether it can truly support the future of women's basketball. The Fever's belated decision to hire a health director after a catastrophic injury season exposes a deeper malaise within the organization and potentially It's a shocking revelation of how basic player welfare was overlooked, leading to unbelievable consequences for their star players, especially Caitlin Clark. This saga isn't just about a job posting. It's a testament to leadership failures, perceived player devaluation, and a league struggling to meet professional standards. The long-term implications for player trust and fan loyalty remain uncertain, but one thing is clear: the league has been forced to confront uncomfortable truths about its own practices, demanding urgent and radical change.